What if Dart didn't die in the tunnels under Hawkins? What if the Demodog learned, remembered, and came back? Some creatures are born from darkness, but sometimes the darkness is shaped by a small act of kindness. 3 musketeers, a boy's voice, a name, Dart. Months after the gates were sealed and the tunnels burned, Hawkins tried to exhale, but the Upside Down never really lets go. It lingers, in vents, in drains, in dreams. And out there, beneath the frost and ash, something crawled out of the ruins and kept going. They thought the fire took them all. Every Demodog, every tendril, every echo. But one didn't die. Buried under cooling concrete and a slough of black soot, a small form twitched, a mouth opened, petal teeth trembling. A whimper. That was all the life it had. Then it moved. Dart didn't rise a conqueror. He crawled, limping, starved, guided by instinct and the faintest trace of something else. A scent. Chocolate. And a boy. Hawkins' edges are strange at night. Parking lots glow like shallow moons. The forest absorbs the light and gives nothing back. In that twilight, Dart learned. He learned which pipes held warmth. He learned which doors never shut all the way. He learned that dogs chase, and that he is faster. And when he found a wrapper, faded red, crinkled gold, he stopped. He sniffed. His throat clicked. A memory, a hand holding out candy. A word spoken gently. Dart! The name echoed in a mind not built for language, but it lodged there anyway. Not a sentence, just an anchor. Weeks later, Dustin noticed the first sign. He wouldn't have if he were anyone else, but he's Dustin. He notices things. His radio started catching a low oscillation, too smooth to be static, too irregular to be natural. In the dark, it sounded almost like breathing. He ignored it the first time, called it interference the second, recorded it the third. Then something took the trash from the side of his house, not tore through it, took it. Trashcan lid off, neatly placed, bag gone, no trail. Dustin installed a backyard cam the same night. Steve, you're not doing this again. Dustin, it's nothing. Probably raccoons. Steve, the last time you said probably raccoons, you introduced me to a carnivorous tadpole. Dustin, that was a one-time. Steve, Dustin. Dustin, what if it's him? Silence. Steve, then you call me before you do anything stupid. The footage came in at 3:12 a.m, a shape at the edge of the yard, low, hesitant, wrong, not a dog, not a coyote. 4 legs and a tail, but the tail twitched like a listening ear. It approached the camera and sniffed. The screen filled with a wet blur and the clicking, inquisitive churr of a creature trying to understand a world that hurt it and fed it all at once. Dustin paused the video. His chest tightened with a feeling he hated. Hope. He didn't go alone. He told Steve. He told Lucas. He even told Max. Because she'd kill him if he didn't. Max. If this is another I Can Fix Him episode, I'm bringing pepper spray. Steve. Bring a bat. They staked out the yard with half a dozen Three Musketeers bars and a flashlight taped red. The yard felt impossibly large when you were waiting for teeth. At 2:04 a.m, the bushes to the left of the shed rustled. Not panicked, curious. Dustin held out a bar. His hand shook. Dustin. Hey buddy, it's me. A snout pushed through. The moon caught the slick curve of skin, the faint seam where petals could open if they needed to. They didn't. Dart stepped forward, 1, 2, 3 slow pads in the grass. He was bigger now, Demodog-sized, but thinner than the ones in the tunnels, scarred across the flank, a back leg stiff, like it never healed right. He sniffed the air, head tilting as though listening to something Dustin couldn't hear. Then he saw the candy. Dart's mouth opened, not wide, just enough to click. A greeting, a hunger, both. Dustin. It's you. Steve. Back up. Dustin didn't move. Dart took the bar, retreated to the shadows, and ate. No frenzy, no lunge. He looked back once, and if a Demodog could look guilty, he did. Max. This is a terrible idea. But she didn't leave. Hawkins began to notice other things. Sinks backed up with black sludge that smelled like winter and pennies. Streetlights flickered in patterns. Long, long, short, long, as if someone on the other side was tapping a code. A deer went missing from the nature preserve. Then 2. 11 felt it first. Not the gate opening, something subtler. A tug behind her sternum, like a tide pulling from the wrong direction. She went still in the buyer's living room, television lights strobing across her face. 11. It's thin again. Will. What is? 11. The wall. They went to Dustin's that night, because that's where the pull pointed. The others were already there, Steve with his bat, Lucas pretending he wasn't terrified, Max pretending she wasn't already angry. And in the hallway, blocking the exit, shadow big enough to fill the plaster and picture frames, stood Dart. Every instinct screamed to run. It took everything for Dustin not to move. He lifted his hand. Another candy bar. Another anchor to a memory that shouldn't matter to a creature like this. 11 stepped forward. The room seemed to hold its breath. 11. Don't! She didn't shout it. She said it like a friend talking a friend away from a ledge. Dart's head turned toward her. The petals twitched. For a heartbeat, something passed between them. Two beings shaped by a place that doesn't love anything, both trying to learn how to be something else. The light bulb above them popped. Everyone flinched. When the glass settled, Dart was gone. Steve. We can't keep doing this. Dustin. I'm not trying to keep a pet. Max. Then what are you trying to do? Dustin didn't answer because he didn't know. He just knew that monsters don't remember candy bars. But Dart did. 11 found the trail under the high school, the same maintenance corridor where bad ideas go to multiply. It led to the tunnels that shouldn't exist anymore, the ones they burned to ash, except ash can seed. The concrete sweated cold. Roots like veins pushed through cracks no engineer signed off on. Somewhere ahead, something dripped in a clock's steady rhythm. They moved slow. Robin counted under her breath to keep from panicking. Nancy checked ammo she hoped not to use. Steve led because Steve always led when kids were involved, whether he admitted it or not. They found Dart in a chamber of collapsed pipe and growling sound. He wasn't alone. The wall behind him pulsed, like a lung that didn't breathe right, and every few seconds a ripple moved across it, as if something on the other side pressed a hand against a membrane, searching for softness. Dart stood between them and the wall, guarding it, or guarding them from it. 11 raised her hand. The ripple slowed, the throb at the edges of the chamber dimming like a heartbeat that didn't want to be heard. Lucas. What is that? 11. It's not a gate. It's a bruise. Dustin. Dart's keeping it stable. Robin. Stable good or stable bad? Nancy. If it opens, bad. Steve. If it collapses and explodes, also bad. Max. So, bad. A crack rippled through the wall. On the other side, something answered. Not with words, with hunger. Dart turned to Dustin, and for the first time since the yard, he came close without candy. He lowered his head. Dustin reached out. His fingers hovered over skin that was never meant to be touched without bleeding. He touched anyway. Dustin. Hey, buddy. Dart didn't snap, he didn't purr, he just stilled. The wall behind him shuddered, like a wave about to break. There are moments that split people in two before and after. This was one. If they killed Dart, the pressure might rupture, opening the bruise into something much worse than a gate. If they kept him here, the bruise might thicken and call more things that listen to pressure and pain. And if they tried to move him... Steve. We can't predict this. 11. I can hold it. Max. Not forever. Dustin. He's choosing. Look at him. Because Dart had turned away from the wall. He had put himself between the bruise and the humans again, not to guard the bruise, to block it. He remembered the candy, he remembered the hand, and in a mind built for hunting, the idea formed, protect the hand. The wall split, something pushed through, an arm of tendon and teeth, a thought in the shape of hunger. 11 screamed without sound. The air around her ripped as she forced the bruise back. Blood ran from her nose and ear. Dart charged. He hit the tendril with all the ruined muscle in his body. Teeth met sinew. Black fluid sprayed. The chamber filled with the howl of two worlds arguing about what belongs where. Steve yelled, "Move!" Nancy fired at the tendril's joints. Lucas hauled Max back as a lash carved the concrete where her head had been. Robin dragged Dustin by the pack straps. He fought her like he'd drown if he left. Through it all, Dart kept biting, not because he was winning, because he didn't know any other way to hold the line. 11 found the centre. Her palms turned white as she pushed, every light in the corridor blowing out in a rapid-fire strobe. The bruise folded, the tendril convulsed. And Dart, still clamped down, was dragged with it. Dustin, "No!" He leapt forward. Steve caught him, arms steel around a kid who thought he was a hero. The wall sealed with a wet, final sound. The chamber went silent except for the kind of ringing you hear after explosions and heartbreak. Dust settled. The bruise was gone. The crack lines cooled. So did the shape at the base of the wall. Dart lay there, chest heaving, petals closed, eyes unfocused. Black ichor pooled under him, thin and sticky like oil after rain. He blinked once, twice. Then he looked at Dustin the way a dog looks at a door it knows is closing. "Dustin, you did so good." He reached for a candy bar with hands that wouldn't listen. He opened it. He broke it in half. Dart didn't eat. He pressed his snout to Dustin's palm the way he used to as a tadpole that shouldn't have liked chocolate. Then he went still. Back on the surface, morning broke over Hawkins like it had earned it. The sunrise hit different that day. Golden light poured over rooftops and telephone poles, softening a town that had survived more than it should have. They stood in the edge of woods, quiet, the kind that makes you listen for a second sound you hope won't come. Max, "Is it over?" 11. For now. It wasn't a warning. It was a truth no one could outrun. But the bruise was gone, and the gate, whatever that not gate was, had sealed without taking a life they couldn't bear to lose. Dustin knelt in the grass with a candy bar still in his hand. Steve didn't say, "I told you so." He didn't say anything. He just stood close enough that Dustin could lean on him without asking. "Nancy, if anyone asks, it was a gas leak." Robin, "Again?" Lucas, "It's always a gas leak." They tried to laugh. It worked for a second. Then it didn't. 11 looked toward the trees, the way people look at ocean horizons, not afraid, alert. Out there, the upside down still existed. It always will. But today, it was farther away. Dustin placed the other half of the candy bar under a rock near the tree line. A small, ridiculous monument. "Max, you really think..." "Dustin, I think he tried. And I think that matters." In a world that keeps trying to teach them that love is a liability, a Demodog had made a different argument. What if Dart survived? Maybe Hawkins still would have fought. Maybe monsters still would have come. But in that chamber, mercy bought them time. A memory bought them a morning. Was Dart a monster? Or just a creature shaped by where it crawled out of, until someone offered it a different shape to follow? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next episode in our Stranger Theories series.